Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to understand what is a language. Most of you are familiar with English language, so I'll be using this example only to explain what is a language. Now, language can be defined as a system of communication in which we use the set of symbols in written form and the set of sounds in spoken form in order to express ourselves to others. I will not be using the spoken form or talking about the spoken form, but I will talk about the written form. Why I am talking about the written form? Because C program is to be written. So I will compare the written form of the language with the C language. Right now we don't have compilers that take input in the form of spoken words, even though in future we may be having such compilers which will take the program input in the form of words, not by typing on a keyboard but by speaking the words with the mouth. This will come with time in computers because language processing is a field of research in artificial intelligence. So let us focus here on the written form of the language. By written form, it means that we are writing something. Let us suppose we are writing something in English language. In the written form, we use alphabet set in a language. So the beginning point of every language in the written form is alphabet set. Suppose you want to write anything in English language, you will use alphabets from A to Z capital or A to Z small, and there are certain special symbols which you will be also using in the written form, that is note of interrogation, question mark, comma you will be using at some places. At some places you might use exclamation or quotes and full stop. Most of the sentences in English language in written form end with a full stop. So I will call full stop as the terminal form of sentences, most of the sentences, even though there are some sentences which don't terminate with a full stop, like interrogative sentences or those sentences where we ask questions. Language can also use digits from 0 to 9 in written form. So the first important thing in written form is that we have a alphabet set. Then these alphabets have a sound associated with them, a unique sound for each alphabet. We combine these alphabets to form the words of the language, that is meaningful words, words that have meaning. So we have an alphabet set in a language, and alphabet set we use to form the words. For example, the word loin is formed by alphabets L and O and I and L. Or the word special, it is formed by alphabets S, P, E, C, I, A and L. So these alphabets have been selected from the alphabet set and they convey the meaning once they form a word. Now the words are used or arranged in different orders to form the sentences. So initially we had an alphabet set. We used alphabet set to form the words, and words are arranged to form the meaningful sentences. We have sentences of mainly four types to convey different things. For example, to ask a question, we use interrogative sentences like how are you, how do you feel, what is your name. These are interrogative sentences where we ask questions. Now another type of sentence is imperative sentence. This sentence is used to give commands or requests, like the sentence, leave your footwear outside, shut up. These are commands. The another type of sentence, that is the third type, is declarative sentence, which is simply a statement. For example, I give a statement, my sister lives in Mexico, or I give a statement, I am your friends. So the sentences in which you give statements, you call them as declarative sentences. And the next type of sentence is exclamatory sentences. Exclamatory sentences are those sentences where you show exclamations or sudden feelings, like alas, we have lost the match, or oh, what has happened. In exclamatory sentences, we essentially use an exclamation mark, and in interrogative sentences, we end the sentence with a question mark. In most of the sentences, the character that we put at the end of the sentence is a full stop. So this is the terminating character for most of the sentences. So we started our lecture with this, that language in written form uses a alphabet set, or set is used to form words. Words are combined or arranged from different sentences. But the question is, can the words be arranged in any order to form sentences? No, it is not like that. We have set of rules for arranging the words, and those rules are called as grammatical rules, or in short form, the grammar. So we use grammar to form correct sentences, and those sentences which violate the grammatical rules will not be considered as correct sentences. Let us take an example. How are you, Ramesh? This is an interrogative sentence. Now, if I write the same sentence like this, or how you, Ramesh, this is not correct, because or is not at the proper place. If I put the interrogation mark in the beginning, this is also not correct, because the grammar says that the interrogation mark or note of interrogation should be at the end of the sentence. In interrogative sentence, supposingly, which I have not written here, I put the full stop instead of question mark, or exclamatory mark instead of question mark, or interrogative sign. That is also not correct. You are how, Ramesh? Again, this is not correct. So what is the correct thing? The grammar will tell me where I should place the verb, where I should place the article, where I should place the noun, where I should place the special symbols. And if I violate those rules, then my sentence is not grammatically correct. I started my lecture with the definition of the language. Then I told that in the language we have an alphabet set, and that alphabet set is used to form the words. Words are arranged to to form the sentences. So we have the set of rules or grammar that should be used to form the sentences. I think this is clear. The next point is that in the language we have another important thing that is called as a dictionary. Now dictionary lists all the words that are used in a language. If we take an example of a English language, we have an Oxford dictionary that records 17 lakh words, and 47,000 words are those words which are obsolete. But the dictionary records the set of words. That is my point. What is the advantage of the dictionary? First, we know the words, and secondly, we know the spellings of those words. If we don't write the word with a proper spelling, we can know it from the dictionary what is the correct spelling. For example, if I am writing the word aunt, the right spelling is A-N-T. Somebody may write A-M-T, somebody may write A-I-T, somebody may write A-N-J. So instead of N, he has written M, instead of N, he has written I, and instead of T, he has written J. But these words are not correct. Why? Because the correct spelling is A-N-T. So dictionary has two important advantages. First, it lists all the words that are used in a language. Secondly, it is used for spell check. Now spell checking we can include in a grammar. That is, if somebody makes a spelling mistake, we can say he has made a grammatical mistake. Now, there are some words that are not in the dictionary and still we use them in the language. Let us take an example of such words like Ramesh, Srinagar, name of a city. We don't have such words in the dictionary, but we use them in a language. Name of some person we use in the language. Are there any rules for giving such names? For example, name of a person. Yes, there are certain informal rules. Like nobody will name his son as 1, 2, 3, 4, or nobody will name his daughter as a brick or computer. There are certain informal rules which we use to give or to make such names. Again, I have this concept that is needed by me in making you understand one of the important concepts of the C language. My point here is that in the language we have got certain words which are not the part of dictionary. We can make a summary of what we understood so far. Language is a communication system which uses set of symbols in written form to write something, and then through that writing people express themselves. In the written form, the language has alphabet set. These alphabet sets are combined to form words. The words are grouped to form sentences, but the sentences cannot be formed by whatever combinations we like, but they should be the combinations that are grammatically correct. And again, language has a dictionary where we have correct spelling of the words and the list of all words used in that dictionary. Now, there are some words that are not the part of dictionary. This argument I will use to explain you what is a C language, the structure of a C language, or what are the different components of a C language. We will compare the C language now with the English language. English language, as I told you, or any language, is a system of communication. I am talking about written form where we use set of symbols to form the words, and the words are grouped to form the sentences according to the grammatical rules. And there are certain set of words which we use in a language but they are not in a dictionary. Now what is a C language? Again, it is a system of communication in which the programmer instructs the computer or CPU what it wants the CPU to do for him. So it is used as a communication. Now programmer can write the program in machine level or assembly level, but my concern here is high level language, that is the C language, sorry. Now if a language has got an alphabet set, so has the C language. It has got its own alphabet set that is more advanced than the English language. In addition to the alphabets and digits, it uses certain special symbols which are not used in English language, like star, like mod, like and, like double equal to, like exclamation equal to in a combined form, or like a pipe operator, or colon or semicolon. Now since these alphabets in English language are combined to form words, same way in C language we combine the alphabets to form the words called as keywords. Keywords. I'll be again explaining keywords after some time. Now, since the words in English language are arranged to form sentences, but the keywords in C language are arranged to form statements. Once again, keywords are same as words in English language. In English language we call combination of alphabets as words, of course meaningful words. Those words should have a meaning. Again, the keywords have a meaning that is given by the C language designer to those words. Now, words can be grouped to form sentences, and we have seen there are different forms of sentences in English language, like imperative sentence, interrogative sentence, exclamative sentence, and declarative sentence. But in C program, the synonym for the sentences is statements. So we can arrange the keywords to form the statements. And in fact, in the sentences we use special symbols also. Same is true of statements. Since we have four types of sentences in the English language, we have four types of statements in C language. The four types of statements are assignment statement, conditional statement, iterative statement, and declarative statement. I will not explain the meaning of these statements right now. There are certain other statements other than these statements. Those are input-output statements and unconditional statements. Input-output statements and unconditional statements. But the main statements are these four: assignment statement, conditional statement, iterative statement, and declarative statement. As I told you, statement is same as sentence. You can remember these four statements by remembering the word ACID. This is a tip to memory I'm giving you. ACID. A stands for assignment statement, C stands for conditional statement, I stands for iterative statement, and D stands for declarative statement, ACID. Now, after knowing that sentences cannot be formed haphazardly, that is, we cannot use any combinations of the words to form sentences, but we have to use the grammar for forming the sentences. And if we violate the grammatical rules, our sentences are not correct. So same way in C, we use syntax. Syntax is same as grammar. In English language we call as grammar. In C language we call it as a syntax. So in C language we use syntax to form the statements. And who will give me that syntax? The designer of the C language will give me that syntax. And if my statement is not following the syntax, it is not a correct statement. It has got an error, and that error we call as syntax error. So syntax errors are those errors which are made by the programmer by writing the incorrect statements. How do you know that the statement is correct or not? There's a particular order for arranging the keywords and the special symbols that form the sentence, and if that order is not correct, we will get the syntax error. Another error that is included in the syntax error is that one is the order error, another is if we don't write the spelling of the keyword correctly. As I told you, keyword is same as words, and words in English language are used to form sentences, but keywords in the C language are used to form statements. But statements cannot be formed by using the what you call any combination, whatever the programmer likes. No, there's a particular grammar for that, or there is a syntax for that. Now I will not call grammar, now I will use the word syntax. So the keywords are arranged according to the rules of syntax, then only we will have correct statements of C. Statement is same as sentence in the English language. Now if the statement has an error, that is it has got a syntax error or a spelling error, that is the grammatical error or a spelling error, we say it has a syntax error. Now in the dictionary we have got list of all the words that are used in a language. Dictionary gives the list of all the words and their spellings. Similarly, in the C's dictionary there are 32 keywords, that is the words, and these words have reserved meanings. The meaning of these words cannot be changed. The C language designer will tell you what is the meaning of these words, and these words, that's keywords, can be used for forming the statements. These keywords must be in lowercase, that is you cannot, let me give an example of a keyword. Suppose for, int, char, define, else, void. These are the keywords. These are the words that we use in C. These are present in the dictionary of the C. The total number of these words is 32. I will give you the list later on. But the keywords have a definite spelling, and again they should be written in the lowercase. Suppose in the for I have written capital F, but in C you have to write small f for for. For char, everything should be in small letters. One important thing you should remember, keywords should be written in small letters. Their spelling should be same as is given by the C. Okay, these words have the special meaning. Keywords are same as the words used in the dictionary. Likewise, we cannot change the spelling of the words in the dictionary. We cannot change the spelling of the keywords. Again, likewise, we cannot change the meanings of the words in the dictionary. Same way, we cannot change the meaning of the keywords in the C. In the natural language, these keywords have a different meaning, but the C has given its own meanings to these words. Keywords are also called as reserved words. Now, as I told you, In the English language, we use some words which are not in the dictionary, like the common names, like name of a place or name of a person, Ramesh, Srinagar, etc. They are not in a part of dictionary. So in C also we can create our own names. These names are called as user defined names. In yesterday's lecture we have given one such name which can be given by the programmer, that is, he can give the name of a memory location. That name or is not present in the C language, but that name is given by the programmer. What for he gives that name? He gives that name to the memory location. We can give names to the functions, we can give names to the arrays, to the pointers, etc., etc. You will know about these names later on, but these names are not present in the C language. These names are given by the programmer. I hope I have made the difference between English language and the C language clear. But the same reasoning that the English language uses to form its sentences, the same reasoning is used by the C language to form its statements. English language has its own grammar. C language has its own grammar called as syntax. English language has list of its words in the dictionary. Same way, C language has lists of its words called as keywords or reserved words in its dictionary. And these keywords are 32 in number in NCC. Maybe they will vary from compiler to compiler, but not that much of variation. I hope this is clear now. C has got its own alphabet sets. These alphabet sets are used in a C language. We have got keywords in C language. Then we have got statements. Statements are like sentences, and these sentences are mainly of 4 types. Now C program is a set of statements. If we know how to write these statements correctly, we can write any program in C. So we have to learn the grammar or the syntax for writing these statements. Once I give you the grammar, you have to strictly follow that grammar. Then only you can write a C program. Most of these statements terminate with a semicolon symbol. The full stop of C is semicolon. It's conditional and iterative statements that do not terminate with a semicolon. So it is not a rule, but most of the statements of the C program will terminate with a semicolon, like the sentences of the English language which terminate with a full stop. Then I made it clear what is the syntax, and in the end I told you there are certain names that are not used in the language but they can be created by the user. Such names are called as user defined names in C language, and they are called as common names in English language. The programmer creates such names for memory locations called as variable names, and for functions and different other programming elements which we'll see in the coming classes. Next. Now I am going to discuss what are the different types of the errors that our program can encounter once it is executing or even before the execution. What are the different types of errors that a programmer makes? Error is also called as a bug, and the art of removing errors is called as debugging. Now we have 4 types of errors in C language. The first error is called as a syntax error. The second type of error is called a semantic error. The third type of error is called a data error or input error. And the fourth type of error is called a runtime error or machine error. Syntax errors. These are the errors where the programmer writes the wrong statements by not following the syntax or the grammar of the C language, or making spelling mistakes in the keywords. And these errors are reported by the compiler once you compile the program. So if you write a C program and if you have made mistakes in the grammar or spellings, once you ask the compiler to compile the program, it will report the errors, and unless and until the programmer has removed all those errors, it will not generate the machine code. As I have earlier told, compiler is a translator that translates the program written in high level language into the machine level. So the C compiler will translate the program written in C language into the machine language. Students, this is important that you should always remember that there is a difference between the C compiler and C language. C language is a language in which we write programs. C compiler is a software that compiles these programs and converts it into executable code. Now, what are the different what you call softwares that we use in the life cycle of the C program? That will come afterwards. But right now you should understand what are syntax errors. These are the errors that the programmer makes, and these errors will be reported by the compiler. So the compiler does not do translation only. It also finds the errors that are in the syntax or grammar and also spelling errors. Once the programmer removes these errors, then only it will compile the entire program and convert it into exe. Unless and until these errors are removed, the program will not be converted into executable code. Exe is a short form of executable code. Now, the compiler does not report the errors as they are. That is, the statements that the compiler gives for these errors may or may not correspond with the meaning of the error. It may give some other statement and error will be something else, but it will report that error is there. Once you do C program, or I will show you how to compile a program, I will make it clear at that time. But you remember this important point, that this is the error that is reported by the compiler. And who creates this error? This error is created by the programmer. Now another error, that is semantic error, and or the other two errors, that is the data errors or input errors and runtime errors. These are the errors that won't be reported except the last type. These two errors, that is this error number 2 and error number 3, these are the errors that won't be reported. But how do we know that these errors have occurred? Let us understand. Suppose in the C language you write the statement C is equal to A plus B. I have made it yesterday clear. These are not variables, these are the of mathematics, but these are the memory locations. So if I am trying to add the contents of two memory locations A and B and storing that the result of the addition in the C, but instead of doing the addition, the programmer had to write subtraction. The compiler will never tell you that you have to write a subtraction in place of addition. This is an error that is made by the programmer. That is, in typing, if he wanted to do subtraction, he did addition, or if he wanted to do multiplication, he wrote an incorrect symbol, maybe mistakenly or some problem, he was thinking something else, but he will not get correct outputs, because if he wanted to do the subtraction, he will get the results of addition. Such errors are called semantic errors. Semantic errors are logical errors. These are not same as grammatical errors. The grammar of this statement is correct, so compiler will not report it, because plus is also an operator. But the programmer has made a mistake. He wanted to do the subtraction, but he is doing addition. So how do you know that this error has occurred? Once you run the program, if I input two numbers A and B, I wanted to subtract them, but in the program I have written the statement of addition, I will get the result of addition instead of subtraction. Since I won't get the correct results, I will know that my program has got an error, because this error will occur again and again for all the inputs. Since I wanted to do subtraction, but mistakenly in the statement I have written plus instead of minus. So this error is very difficult to remove once you have thousands of lines of code, once you have thousands of statements in a program, and you have made a typing mistake, or instead of storing the value in B, you are storing the value in C. C compiler won't report such errors where you have done wrong things. It will only report the errors while you have made grammatical mistakes. Let me give an example. It will be clear. Suppose I say the cap is on the head. This is the correct sentence in English language. Now if I say head is on the cap, this is also correct sentence in in English language, because grammatically there is nothing wrong with this sentence, that is head is on the cap. But what is wrong then? The wrong is the logic, because head cannot be on the cap has to be on the head. So such errors are called as semantic errors. There is no grammatical problem with such errors, but there is a logical problem. You had to write something else and you have written something else, but both the forms, that is correct form and the incorrect form, are syntactically correct, but you have made a semantic error. Now next is the data error or input error. What is the data error or the input error? Data errors are those errors which are caused once you run the program. Note, semantic errors can be also noted when you run the program, but syntax errors are noted before you run the program, that is at the time of compilation. Now I was talking about data errors. Data errors or input errors are those errors. C compiler is a software that compiles these programs and converts it into executable code. Now what are the different what you call softwares that we use in the life cycle of the C program? That will come afterwards, but right now you should understand what are syntax errors. These are the errors that the programmer makes, and these errors will be reported by the compiler. So the compiler does not do translation only, it also finds the errors that are in the syntax or grammar, and also spelling errors. Once the programmer removes these errors, then only it will compile the entire program and convert it into exe. Unless and until these errors are removed, the program will not be converted into executable code. Exe is a short form of executable code. Now, the compiler does not report the errors as they are. That is, the statements that the compiler gives for these errors may or may not correspond with the meaning of the error. It may give some other statement and error will be something else, but it will report that error is there. Once you do C program, or I will show you how to compile a program, I will make it clear at that time. But you remember this important point, that this is the error that is reported by the compiler. And who creates this error? This error is created by the programmer. Now another error, that is semantic error, and or the other two errors, that is the data errors or input errors and runtime errors. These are the errors that won't be reported except the last type. These two errors, that is this error number 2 and error number 3, these are the errors that won't be reported. But how do we know that these errors have occurred? Let us understand. Suppose in the C language you write the statement C is equal to A plus B. I have made it yesterday clear. These are not variables, these are the of mathematics, but these are the memory locations. So if I am trying to add the contents of two memory locations A and B and storing that the result of the addition in the C, but instead of doing the addition, the programmer had to write subtraction. The compiler will never tell you that you have to write a subtraction in place of addition. This is the error that is made by the programmer. That is, in typing, if he wanted to do addition or subtraction, he did addition. Or if he wanted to do multiplication, he wrote an incorrect symbol. Maybe mistakenly or some problem, he was thinking something else. But he will not get correct outputs, because if he wanted to do the subtraction, he will get the results of addition. Such errors are called semantic errors. Semantic errors are logical errors. These are not same as grammatical errors. The grammar of this statement is correct, so compiler will not report it, because plus is also an operator. But the programmer has made a mistake. He wanted to do the subtraction, but he is doing addition. So how do you know that this error has occurred? Once you run the program, if I input two numbers A and B, I wanted to subtract them, but in the program I have written the statement of addition. I will get the result of addition instead of subtraction. Since I won't get the correct results, I will know that my program has got an error, because this error will occur again and again for all the inputs. Since I wanted to do subtraction, but mistakenly in the statement I have written plus instead of minus. So this error is very difficult to remove once you have thousands of lines of code, once you have thousands of statements in a program, and you have made a typing mistake, or instead of storing the value in B, you are storing the value in C. C compiler won't report such errors where you have done wrong things. It will only report the errors while you have made grammatical mistakes. Let me give an example. It will be clear. Suppose I say the cap is on the head. This is the correct sentence in English language. Now if I say head is on the cap, this is also correct sentence in in English language, because grammatically there is nothing wrong with this sentence, that is, head is on the cap. But what is wrong then? The wrong is the logic, because head cannot be on the cap has to be on the head. So such errors are called as semantic errors. There is no grammatical problem with such errors, but there is a logical problem. You had to write something else and you have written something else, but both the forms, that is correct form and the incorrect form, are syntactically correct, but you have made a semantic error. Now next is the data error or input error. What is the data error or the input error? Data errors are those errors which are caused once you run the program. Suppose you are adding two numbers and you have to give the input of 2 and 3. Naturally the answer will be 5. You are expecting this answer, but instead of 2 and 3 you are giving some other values as in by mistake. You won't get the correct outputs. So what is the way out of this? How? By giving the correct inputs. I hope this is clear. Data errors occur when you have to give some other inputs and you give some other inputs instead of that, and you are not getting the results as expected, so we say data errors have occurred or input errors have occurred. Now these errors can be again detected at runtime. What is the way out of these errors? The way out of these errors is that you have to give correct inputs. What is the way out of the semantic errors? The way out of the semantic errors is that you have to change the program. Instead of plus, you have to write minus. What is the way out of the syntax errors? You have to change the program. That is, changing the program is called as editing program. So in case of syntax errors, you have to edit the program. In case of semantic errors, you have to edit the program. But in case of data errors, you don't have to change the program. You have to simply change the inputs. You have to give the correct inputs when you are running a program. Another type of error is called as a runtime error. When does the runtime error occur? Runtime errors again occur at runtime. They are also called as machine errors. What are these errors? There is no machine in the world that can perform the operation of division by 0, because the answer is infinite. So if I write something like this, C is equal to A divided by 0, this A divided by 0 cannot be done by computer. It will report an error. Why? Because this is the limitation of the computer. It cannot do it. Such errors where the machine is incapable of performing the operations are called as machine errors or runtime errors. What is the way out of these errors? Again, you have to edit the program. You have to remove such statements because such operations cannot be performed. Even though syntactically those statements are correct, but once you execute the program on the machine, it will give errors. And that error will cause the program termination because the machine will report that it is incapable of doing these operations. Again, we have a way out of that. Instead of termination, how do we avoid that? Then we have to write an error handling routine for that. I will not go into that. But in this slide, I have explained what are the 4 types of errors that the C program can encounter. One is the syntax error. These are the grammatical errors and are reported by the compiler. Then is the semantic errors or logical errors where the programmer had to write some other thing and he wrote some other thing, and these are very difficult to debug because they are not reported by the compiler. Then data errors or input errors where the programmer has given the wrong inputs, and what is the way out? He has to run the program again and give the correct inputs. In this case, you need not to change the program. Again, in runtime errors, this is the error that occurs during the runtime because of the limitations of the machine in performing certain operations. That then, what is the way out? The way out is again edit the program and remove such operations from your program. So debugging is an important art and it will come with the practice. Next, in the previous class, I told you that there is a assignment operator, and this assignment operator has got special meaning in C. In mathematics, this equal to operator or assignment operator has got 2 meanings. That is, it is used to assign a value to a variable or to compare a value between 2 variables. Depends on the context. But in C, this operator has got only one meaning, that is assignment. When we say A is equal to B, that is memory location A is equal to memory location B. This means copy the contents of B and assign it to A without changing the B. This I have explained in the previous lecture. But in order to compare, you use some other operator. That is, comparing here means when you have to check for the equality of A and B. You use an operator called as double equal to operator. This is the combination of 2 equal tos, and once you write such statement, it does not mean assign B to A, but it means compare A with B. So this is used for comparing A and A with B or B with A and checking if they are equal or not. If they are equal, the result of this operation will be true, and if they are unequal, the result of this operation will be false. I hope I have made this clear. I hope you have enjoyed today's class. Thank you.